Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I got my first episode returning here. This week I got Kerry Gardner on the podcast. He's a really good friend of mine. He's one of the top lenders in the state. Really smart guy on the lending side of things, and just overall cool guy. So hope you guys enjoy this one. He tells his story a little bit about where he came from, gives his opinion on this market, where he thinks it's going to go, tells you about interest rates, what they're going to do in the near future, in his opinion. Yeah, guys, just a reminder, we don't have any sponsors, don't do anything like that for this podcast, and I never will. I'm fully sponsored by my personal real estate business, so if you guys got any questions on the real estate side of things, any way I can help, feel free to reach out. All my info will be below. And also, one other housekeeping thing, if you have anybody that you would like on the podcast, shoot them my way, tell me their name, I'll reach out to them, see if I can get them on. Without further ado, let's start the show. All right, you ready?
Yep.
You good? All right, hey guys, we got Kerry Gardner here. It's the man in blue that you're seeing, or if you're hearing, imagine a guy in blue. That's what he's wearing. So Kerry, tell us a little bit about yourself. Kerry is a lender in town. He's with the Campbell Lending Group, which is the top group in the state, or just in the Black Hills?
So the Campbell Lending Group is the number one lending group in the state of South Dakota.
State. Okay, I thought it was the state, but I wasn't sure. Based on volume?
Yep.
Like number of transactions?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And Kerry's been a good friend of mine since we started in the business. Like I started as a real estate agent, Kerry started as a lender within a couple weeks of each other, probably.
Yep.
Anyways, yeah, that's so we connected then, and then we've done home buying seminars and worked with each other a lot through the last 4 years.
Yep.
I just finished up my last fourth full year, so that was your fourth as well, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yep. So we're in our
Into
fifth
year
year now.
5.
Yep.
Yep.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about, because you've kind of interesting background of how you got into mortgages and stuff. So tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So just like you just said, finished up 4th year, going into my 5th year of originating loans. But before that, for nearly 17 years, I was on the servicing side of loans here on with a local company.
Which to you makes sense, but what is servicing a loan?
So servicing is basically the back end that you get after you have gotten a loan. So when you make your payments, if you have questions via customer service, if there's issues with billing, escrow accounts, things like that. That's all on the servicing side. And it goes as far in as collections, loan modifications, loss mitigation, things like that.
So everybody you deal with after the loan closes.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yep. So on the servicing side, a local company here, it was originally Conseco, then Green Tree, and then at the tail end it was Ditech.
Ditech.
Yeah.
They still exist?
Not locally, but
okay.
they're still a nationwide company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ditech.
Yeah.
So why'd you switch over?
So it's kind of a funny story. So several years ago, probably I think we're right around 10 years ago, I met Josh Campbell, and that's the head of my business partnership, the Campbell Lending Group. I met him doing a refinance on my own personal mortgage, and the standing joke is at that time he wanted to hire me. He offered me a job, and I was comfortable where I was. Didn't really think he was serious. Every time I'd see him, he'd say, "Hey, when are you going to come work for me?" It was kind of the banter,
Yeah.
And then he left the area and went to Minneapolis. When he came back, he brought with him the direct lending channel, which is part of what we are, and he reached out to some other people and started the Campbell Lending Group. And one of his business partners at the time, Eric Lopez, and I were talking. And once I found out that that's where the group was, I said, well, I'd like an opportunity to talk to you guys. And I got brought on as a business partner, bought my way in. And Josh always jokes about, I offered this job to you 10 years ago, but it took my other business partner, Eric Lopez, to get you in the door.
What made the difference? Just the time of your life?
It was a couple of things. The company that I was with, I could see some writing on the wall. The company was changing. It wasn't the same company that I'd worked for the previous 14 years, 15 years. And it, for me and my family, it was time for a change. It was kind of a leap of faith. Really knowing a lot about the mortgage business, just not necessarily the originating side.
Right.
And then it was a matter of getting with the right team.
And didn't you? In Ditech, you weren't sales or anything like that, were
Correct.
you?
Okay. No, not at all.
Which totally different world.
Absolutely.
But you did have product knowledge and stuff, which probably helped carry over conversations and things like that.
Yeah, and I feel like the roles that I did while I was there, primarily with my employees, helping them develop training, things like that.
Yeah.
Really parlay into sales, but a completely different role.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how have the last 4 years been for you?
Outstanding.
A roller coaster, or have they been straight up?
Career-wise, I mean, probably the best 4 years that I've had. Monetarily great, but more importantly than that, just the group that I'm with.
Yeah.
The knowledge that I've gained.
Excited to go to work every day?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I constantly tell the guys, my worst day here is slightly worse than my best days in my old
that
job.
Big of a difference?
Yeah, it's a rewarding profession to be in.
Yeah.
You figure out a way to get somebody into a mortgage that has been told no several times, and now they get to actually own a home.
Yeah.
It's pretty
true.
rewarding.
That's very true. I think back in the day, 4 years ago, when I was first starting, I remember I would talk to people. It's hilarious to think about it now to me, because I remember the houses they were looking at were like $170,000.
Right.
That doesn't even exist anymore. But I remember one time someone was like, "Hey, yeah, we have a bunch of agents that we know. However, do you know of a lender?" Like they were basically saying they weren't going to use me. "However, do you know of a lender that could use tipped income? Because everybody we talked to says that you can't use tipped income."
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I had no clue, but I was like, yeah, for sure. I know somebody. So I was like, I asked you, and you were like, yeah, we can use tipped income. They ended up using me as an agent because I was the only one who could find a lender.
Right.
So you got me that deal. So thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is I think it's weird that people can't use it.
Well, and it's not necessarily that lenders can't use it.
Right.
It's that it's complicated, and a lot of them don't want to
deal with
take on that kind of a loan.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Whereas our whole mantra, if you will, is figure out a way to get every loan approved.
Yeah.
Not, okay, what could potentially cause this loan to get denied?
Right. I see what you're saying.
And that's how we want to operate, because we want to put as many people into homes as we can.
Right. What do you think about this market that's going on right now?
It's
give me what you think is going to happen. How about that?
So
your take on it.
With rates or with
no, not the rates.
Price?
Well, you could tie rates into that.
Yeah, home values. I honestly feel like we're not even past the beginning stages of what the home values are going to do.
Agreed. Yeah.
I think we're going to continue to have the influx of people coming in, whether it's with the base expansion or purely for the fact that the Black Hills has legitimately been discovered.
Yeah.
People know where we are. They know why we want to live here. And if you can get through a couple of months of winter, which we've had obviously a very mild winter.
Yeah.
But if you can get past that, the rest of the seasons that we have are
amazing.
Yeah. So I home values I think are going to continue to go up. Are we going to see the 20%, 27% appreciation that we've seen in the last couple of years? Maybe.
Yeah.
But at a very minimum, I think we're even when it starts leveling off, I think we're going to consistently see 5 to 10.
Agreed.
Yeah,
agreed. We were before that anyways.
Right.
We were 17, 18, 19, we're 7, 8, 9%, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, and when we first got into this boom, if you will, the people that were having the hardest time keeping up were the appraisers, right? The appraised values.
Yep.
And initially people thought they were overpaying for homes.
Yeah.
And even those people that have gotten into homes,
they're feeling good they did it.
And now with what has appreciated, instead of, oh, wow, I overpaid by $40,000. Well, actually now you have $100 and some thousand in equity.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking about my house that I built.
Yeah.
For $360,000.
Yeah.
I think it's worth $450 at least.
Right. Yeah. There's houses being built around you for
$450, and they're smaller.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was like, wow. And I knew though. I kind of saw the writing on the wall. I was like, I told my wife, because we weren't planning on doing it, but I was like, we were just gonna buy another rental property,
right.
And I was like, we better build what you want, because in 5 years this is gonna be. I said I think it'll be $700,000 or $800,000 for what we want, and I still think it probably will be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, we got to do it now. So we did. Yeah, luckily.
Yeah, good timing.
Yeah, perfect timing. I didn't think it would be that crazy, that fast, but I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming because I could feel it every day.
Yeah.
It's like when you're in a profession, you can feel what's happening.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep. And the combination of that and the all-time low rates.
Yeah, that too.
Was a perfect storm.
Yeah, that too.
So.
How do you think rates are going to affect it?
Well, they've obviously gone up considerably in the last
right.
6 months, and I know you pay attention to, what's going on in the market,
Yeah.
the economics that go into an interest rate, the 10-year U.S. Treasury bond, the MBS, and the federal government has, well, at the end of 2021, they discussed quantitative easing.
Yeah.
Yep. And in the past, as soon as they started talking about QE, quantitative easing, that's when, or taper talk. As soon as those talks started happening, rates, there wasn't any gradual. It was rates have gone up.
Gotcha.
It's too late. Rates have gone up.
Gotcha.
And this time around, it was gradual.
Mm-hmm.
They started talking about it, and rates didn't do anything. And then the closer they got to, several announcements where the Fed finally announced that they are going to taper.
Yeah.
They're going to pull back on what they're injecting into the market to the point where they want it to be zero. And and that's obviously going to cause interest rates to go up a little bit.
For sure.
There are going to be 3 rate hikes in 2022.
Only 3?
3 to 4.
Okay.
A minimum.
Hasn't
of
already
3.
been one?
Not yet.
Okay.
In March is going to be the first rate
one.
hike. Yep. And what that means, a lot of people don't understand what a rate hike means. That's the interest rate that the federal government is lending money, or the Federal Reserve is lending money to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, those types of agencies.
Gotcha.
It's been at 0% for the last 2.5 years. But if you actually throw in inflation into it, it's actually at like -7% is what it's at. So I think it's necessary to get inflation in check. I'm more concerned if and when the federal government is going to work on reducing their balance sheet, because that means not only are they not capitally injecting it, they're trying to unload the bonds on their balance sheet.
Gotcha.
And in that instance, that's when we're going to see rates
Go crazy.
Yeah.
What would that look like, you think?
So we're already into the high 3s, low 4s
Yeah.
on conventional
Yeah.
Govy loans, mid 3s to high 3s. I could easily see, and that's an average. That's not just us. That's an average
Sure.
for the industry. I could easily see by the summertime to early fall that rates are in the mid 4s to the high 4s, and by the end of the year, probably into the 5s,
Yeah.
maybe the mid 5s.
Which when I first started, they were in 5s.
They were, yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that doesn't surprise.
Yeah.
That doesn't scare me
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah, we were when in 2017, early 2018.
Yeah.
It was not uncommon to be at 5.25.
Yeah, I
maybe
remember
even
that.
5.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, it was like slowly just kept going down,
Yeah.
down and down and down. What do you think the worst case scenario would be on rates though? If everything goes horrible.
I don't
know.
I don't have a crystal ball, obviously.
Right. But what do you
I
think?
just can't see them getting into the 6s.
Okay. Why?
It's just
It's hard to imagine,
It's such
or-
an odd number. It's such
Yeah.
an odd number to think about.
Because you've never seen it too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, none of us have.
Right.
That have been in the business for 20 years or less.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I was looking back at you can look at the rates over the years, and even if we're at 5, it's still like some of the lowest in history
Right.
as a whole.
Yeah.
In the 80s, I think they were like 15 to 20% or something insane like
Yeah.
that, some insane number. So I don't know. I mean, everybody's like, these interest rates are going to slow the market down. I'm
Yeah.
like, highly doubt it. I could be wrong. I hope it does, to be honest with you. Hope it does slow down a little bit.
Right. And it
But-
is. It's going to turn it into, instead of just people buying
Which I think right now is some chaos buying for
Yeah.
it. Meaning like,
buying home on a whim.
or they're
know?
pushing to get this interest rate before these go up because
Right.
everybody's talking about
Yeah.
it. But I don't think it's going to affect the market in the way people are acting like it does.
I think it'll allow people that actually need to buy homes
Sure.
that ability to be more competitive.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully so. It's pretty insane. We were just talking before this started about I had a client put an offer in $42,000 above asking and not get it.
Right,
It's just
yeah,
absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, something, a year and a half ago, you would never think about saying that phrase.
I don't know. Beginning of last year was crazy too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't this crazy, but it was close. That's actually the first offer I've lost out on this year, which is kind of crazy too. I
Yeah.
keep beating like 15, 20 people somehow. But yeah, that one I was like, wow, I was shocked.
It could be because of the name on the lender's name on your.
That's probably
your
what it is.
offer.
It's because Carrie's doing the lending. Yeah. That's actually a big part of it, believe it or not. I mean, people don't realize that, like whenever I go to a client, I can't be like, hey, you use this person. You have to
Right.
use this person. I have to give them options, 3 options.
Absolutely.
But I always tell them it really matters who you use for the other side too, because like I've seen builders especially, if builders don't like the lender, they'll be like, nah, I'm not dealing with this, get a different lender, you know? So that's a big deal actually, who represents you.
And the reputation, our reputation,
Totally.
not only the Campbell Lending Group, but CMG's as a whole.
You guys get stuff done.
Yeah. And a builder that wants to make sure they close on time so they don't have to cover the cost of that construction note any longer than necessary. You know, that's important.
Yeah, that too. And your guys are the only people that I know of. There may be some other people that I don't know, but that actually do all the underwriting up front.
Right.
Everybody else, and what that means for everybody listening is, if you go in to get a pre-approval letter, a lot of times they'll just be like, "Yep, you're pre-approved," and that's all they'll tell you. And then when you get down the line, they'll be like, "Oh, we didn't find this, and we didn't see this. We didn't see this on your loan.
Right.
Oh, this income isn't guaranteed." Yeah. And they figure that out when you're like a month into it.
Yep.
And you're like, "What the hell, dude? Why didn't you not already look this stuff up?" CMG does it up front.
Right.
So before they even give you anything, they'll make sure you're good to go. Correct.
Right. And that's something that's really always set us apart.
Yeah.
You know, it might take us a day or two longer to get your pre-approval done.
Right.
It doesn't now because we're working so quickly because we know how important it is to get an offer in. But we are what's called straight to findings. So if underwriting says, hey, these are the 4 documents you have to have, we know to get those up front, as opposed to, hey, we're going to get all 20 documents and then we're going to use whatever we need to use. Yeah. We know exactly what documents we're going to need to use, and that's what we get from you to make the pre-approval process go quickly. We've really kind of streamlined that.
Yeah.
But there's still companies out there that they'll pull your credit, they'll go off of the information you put on your application, and they'll pre-approve you based off of that.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, as a real estate agent, that's scary because at the end, once you get them under contract, that's when they're actually going to say, okay, now we need these documents to verify what we pre-approved.
And it can hurt your reputation as an agent too.
Right.
Agent to agent stuff too. Yeah, it's a bummer. Yeah, there's no one else that I know of that does that, but I'm sure someone does, but not that I'm aware of.
If they don't, I don't know why. You know, I don't know why they wouldn't.
I don't know why either.
Wouldn't do it that way.
The only benefit I could see is getting something under contract. Well, even that's not really a benefit. I was thinking getting something under contract and then doing it, but you still have the likelihood of falling out, and then you got to go find something else anyways.
Yeah, and then that, like you said, that's your reputation.
Yeah, totally. So what do you want to do in the future? Where do you want to take everything for yourself?
Well, I mean, our group, we want to continue to grow. We have several short-term and long-term goals. Short-term goal is to be a $100 million group, which is
is that in volume?
Yep. Okay. Yep. So that's
per year, right?
Yeah, per year. Okay. So 100, and we've come very close each of the last 2 years. And you know, the where the industry is right now. In 2020, we had a record year. Campbell Lending Group and CMG.
Yeah.
In 2021, again, CMG had a record year. And you know, it's kind of fun because we go to functions and we run into several realtors that are like, you know, we can't be expected that we're going to continue to do this. We had a record year in 2020. Of course, we were going to go backwards in 2021, right? Aren't you guys? And we're like, no, you know, we're not.
Who would say that? That makes no sense.
Right. I mean, and that's the goal, is to continue going forward. And as a group, we're growing. We've grown into the Gillette area. You know that. Yeah. I don't know if you've known, we've grown into the Colorado, Loveland area.
No, I didn't know that.
And,
awesome.
And Cheyenne, Wyoming. So our goal is to continue to grow the Campbell Lending Group to where we are annually a $100 million lending group.
But where were you last year? Do you know?
Last year we were at 89.
89. It's pretty damn close.
Yeah. I mean, really, it's one really solid month away from
hitting that Honda. Yeah, that's awesome.
So
what's the long-term goal for you?
Long-term goal would be to put myself in a position where I've been successful long enough that that the group is able to move around and do some consulting on what makes us different and what has allowed us to do not only what we've done in our local area, but you know, expanding to other areas. We've also expanded to Arizona. I'm licensed in Arizona. One of my other business partners, Cody, is licensed in Arizona, and both Eric and Josh are in the process of getting licensed there.
That's dope. That's sweet.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you a question about I can't remember. Oh, do you own rental property?
I do not.
No?
I don't.
Have you ever wanted to do that?
Yeah, my wife and I have thought about it pretty hard, but it's just never something.
Why haven't you? Just out of curiosity.
You know, I don't have a great answer for that. Other than
What do you do do you do anything else for investments? Or?
No. I don't have any investments, investment properties. I mean, obviously, I have investment accounts.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Investment accounts.
Yeah. So we do
stock market,
Yeah.
IRA, stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah. And you know, my business group as well, we're always looking for things that we could potentially start investing in
Sure.
as well, to make it to where the Campbell Group is more than just a lending group, but also an investment group.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You
Yeah.
guys should do that. Why not? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like we're at this point. I know quite a bit of real estate investors here, and I keep talking to them like every month, and I'm like, hey, what are your thoughts on this market? Like, because I was curious if investors were going to slow down. Every investor that I know is like trying to buy everything they
Right.
can.
Yeah.
Like they're stretching themselves and trying to like
residential, commercial, it doesn't
everything.
matter.
Yeah. Actually, residential more than commercial, but as commercial as a whole in the nation's pretty slow right now. Here locally, it's insane. Like it's extremely busy here.
Right.
Rentals, I've noticed, are not that hot. Probably hotter than they were before, but purchases and sales are crazy right now.
Right.
For commercial. I know people that are trying to buy commercial property like all the time.
So what do you think the commercial property is going to look like going forward?
I don't know a ton about commercial. I'm not specialized in that really. I do look at it quite a bit. I think going forward, it's going to continue to grow here, especially. I could see us getting to, well, if the projections are real, what they say what's going to happen here with growth, which is like 30 to 100,000 people, right? Did you see that?
Yep.
If that happens, I think we're going to have a lot bigger companies coming here and having big buildings, warehouses, things like that. I have 2 clients that are trying to buy warehouses here, and both of them are probably going to have to build something because of the size and stuff that they need. So I could see it being a bigger, I don't want to say industrial, what's the word for it? A bigger, like a big city vibe,
right,
with commercial real estate. Being like way nicer commercial real estate,
right,
a lot newer stuff, bigger companies here. And I think one thing I'm excited about is that's going to bring a lot of higher paying jobs that we need, especially to keep up with housing prices, you know? So I think that's going to come. I really do. I think the higher paying jobs are already starting to come,
right,
but I could see those coming, you know, like the 6-figure jobs will start coming, I think. One guy I know, he's bringing a big company here, and he's going to bring, he has 35 employees and he's bringing 15. So he's going to have to fill 20 positions, and then it started like $70,000.
Oh, nice.
So for our area, that's amazing.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yep.
So I think we'll get a lot of that kind of stuff. I can also see a lot more like WeWork or co-working spaces coming popular here.
Right.
I think bigger restaurants will come here, like not big brands, but like chef-driven restaurants, like that new ramen place or ramen, however you say it.
Ramen, yeah.
That guy's like a world famous chef that decided to come open a ramen place here. You know what I mean? I think we'll get a lot of that kind of stuff too. And I'm sure we'll get some bigger chains as well. Like I hope Chick-fil-A comes, obviously.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for that friggin' forever. I can see the growth is definitely going to happen in that area as well.
Yeah. Well, and there, just like there's a need for more homes.
Yeah.
There's there's more need for more rentals as well. Whether that's apartment rentals, condos, you know, things like that.
It's almost shocking how many apartment complexes are being built, and they're all full.
Right.
You know, it's kind of insane, actually.
Yeah, by the time they officially open, they're full.
Yeah, which is awesome for them.
Yeah.
You know, and I think they're going to continue to build them. You know, there's a lot of plans to build some, and I don't see that slowing down at all. It's crazy to me how much they sell for. Like I saw this one built, and it was like a lot of studios, 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom, and it sold for like $250,000 a door.
Wow.
For an apartment complex. I was like, geez.
Have your neighbor pounding on your wall.
Yeah, I was like, my God, that's insane, dude. But yeah, I think that stuff will continue as well.
Yeah.
Single family rental properties and stuff obviously will continue to boom as well, I believe. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll return shortly.
Sounds good.
So where were we? Apartment complexes, things like that. You were talking about how you're about to start buying a bunch of rental properties with me, and I'm just kidding. No, but I think you should buy at least one or something, you know?
Yeah, and like I said, we've talked about it. We have a really close friend of ours that told us his goal was to have 10 doors within a 5-year period.
Sure.
And he just went nuts in the last year and a half. And I think he's added something like 19
awesome.
doors in a year and a half. in not just Rapid City, but the Black Hills area, Hill City,
Yeah.
all around.
Some of the places you can get stuff for pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Not always, but sometimes.
Well, and it's, just like we were talking about one of our clients, you have to make sure it makes sense. You
Yeah.
have to do that. You might feel like you're getting it at a good price, but if it's not going to make you money, it's not doing
Right.
what you want it to do.
Right, totally. And one thing that's pretty popular here right now is Airbnbs, short-term rentals and stuff.
Yeah.
I personally believe that will end at some point. I
Why is
know
that?
it will. Why is that? Because
Yeah.
every city that has a bunch of them cracks down on it and doesn't allow them.
Gotcha.
They cut it off at a certain number, or they don't allow it at all. And the reason is kind of a good reason, and that is it takes up single-family housing. You know what I
Right.
mean? People
Yeah.
buy a house, make it Airbnb, and that takes up someone's house they could buy or rent or whatever.
Right.
So I think they will crack down on that at some point. I could see it happening.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single big city that I'm aware of has cracked down on it to where you could do it if you have like an ADU or if you have a commercial property, like Denver does that. So do you know what ADU is?
No.
Additional dwelling unit, meaning like if you have a house and it has another house on it,
Okay.
you can rent out one of them.
Gotcha.
But you can't. You have to live
Yeah.
there and
Yeah.
rent it out, which is what Airbnb was originally made for.
So there's one out in my area where there's an upstairs and a downstairs,
Yep.
and the people that own it just live upstairs
Yeah.
and the downstairs.
I imagine that will still be allowed.
Gotcha.
I imagine. But the house is still used for single family.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think that'll happen. It might be a while. I don't want that to happen. I think people should make money however they want.
Right.
But I could see them cracking down on it. I mean, we're already short at least 1,000 houses currently, and if we really grow by the amount they say we're going to grow, it's going to get wild.
Right.
It's going to get really wild, and we're going to have to build. They're going to have to build so many apartment complexes to keep up. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's exciting,
It is.
and it's
It's exciting because we own
it's-
property, but if
right.
you don't own property, it's like, damn.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you're watching and you think about it, you really need to pull the trigger. Me and you've been saying this forever.
Right. Yeah. And I'm in a business group, and several people come up to me every week and say, the market's impossible right now. How are people getting
not possible.
homes? It's not impossible. You have to strategize.
Mhm.
You have to have a strategy in place. You have to know what is going to make your offer stronger,
Yep.
and be able to potentially get a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, and one other thing that's important is you got to forget all your wants
Right.
and think about what all you need in the house, because you could create some of those wants later. So I
Yep.
keep telling everybody, I'm like, think about everything that you need. Make sure the house meets all the needs,
Yep.
and don't worry about all the wants. If it hits some of the wants, cool. But if not, you can add wants later. You can update it to get wants, or you can build your next house and make
Right.
it what you want. But if you really want to get in a house for the investment side of things, get what you need, not
Right.
what you want.
Well, it's like we've always talked about in our home buying seminars that,
Yeah.
that we've had, is we always have that graph.
Right.
And that was very
God,
conservative.
talk about 3%.
Right,
Was
very
that- yeah.
very conservative. But if you're in this house for 5 years, just for making your payments and your house appreciating, you're going to have X amount of equity after 5 years.
Right.
I mean, imagine those people that bought 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and got at that point maybe a $250,000 house, which was a very very nice,
Nice
house
house.
at that point.
Now that's 400 grand.
At least.
Yeah.
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 So, those, but that's not to say that's not going to continue to happen. You buy a $300,000 house now, there's a very good likelihood in 2.5 to 3 years that's a $500,000 house.
You remember 2 years ago, you're totally right. You remember 2 years ago when I kept saying in seminars, I was like, guys, within the next 2 years, nothing is going to be under 200 grand.
Yeah.
Remember I kept saying
Yeah,
that?
and nobody believed you.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, whatever, dude. Now I don't think anything is going to be under 300
Yeah.
within the next year or two, for sure.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really believe that.
Yep. And we just need we need wages to keep up.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And people are always like, how the hell are these people buying houses? How the hell are these people buying houses? Well, one, a lot of people already owned houses.
Right.
And so they were able to pull 150 grand out of a house and put down on the
Yeah.
$500,000 house. So it's only a $350,000 house
Keep
for
their
them.
mortgage fairly
Yeah.
similar with the low rates.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
they were lucky or smart, whatever you want to consider it, before, because they bought a house, right?
Right.
Or two, they're coming from out of state, or there's three things. They either sold a house and made money, came from out of state and they sold a house that's $1 million, and
Right.
$500,000 is whatever to them.
Yeah.
Or they haven't made good money. That's how people are buying houses.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only options, basically.
And if you can get into a home, anytime is a good time.
Yeah.
Because it's going to continue to appreciate.
Yeah.
Even you and I have talked about this, even during the hard times in 08, 09, when the rest of the country had depreciation, we stayed flat or
Yeah.
even slightly
Ahead.
appreciated.
Yeah.
So I think that in itself speaks volumes for
The area.
where we're at.
Yeah. And there's so many talks about like if the market will crash and stuff. I don't see how it could. Well, there's one way I see actually how it could, and that's if the whole country is at war or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? That would be like the only thing, if our country gets dismantled or something. You know what I mean? Which could happen for sure. Could happen.
It feels like anything could happen.
I know.
Right now.
Yeah, that for sure could happen. If that happened, the least of your concern is going to be what your house is worth,
Right.
bro.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
going to be worried about something way more serious than that.
Right.
So that's my take on it. And I'm trying to buy everything I can too while the market's where it is because
Yeah.
I think it'll go up too.
Yeah.
I personally think that when I first bought my little house downtown, that's the house on St. Claus Street,
Yep.
bought it for $156,000, which is a joke.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at it after owning it for like 6 months and going, this will be worth $500,000 one day. And I said that to my wife and she was like, this little crappy house? And I was like, yeah, because it's cool. It's downtown.
It's a great location.
Yeah, it's got 12-foot ceilings, got a lot of character.
Yeah.
I was like, this is gonna be worth $500,000 one day,
And you're already getting.
and now it's probably worth $3.
Yeah, you're already getting close.
Yeah, which is insane. But yeah, I think that will continue to happen, and people are gonna kick themselves. People are kicking themselves now that I'm working
Yeah.
with. Like, man, you were right. You should have bought. And I'm like, yeah, well, here's the next best time. Do it now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, now's the best time.
Which, if you're scared of the market and it like paralyzes you, you should probably just not get in it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you're always going to be concerned about it.
Yeah.
But if you have a little bit of fear tolerance, you should probably pull the trigger.
Yeah. Well, there's very little, maybe nothing that you can invest in that's going to be as a solid investment.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no sure thing, but around here, housing prices doing what they've done makes this as close to a sure thing as there is.
It's not just here either.
Right.
It's a lot of places.
Yeah.
Like my wife is from Amarillo, Texas, and that market is basically doing the exact same thing as ours.
Really.
Yeah, like I remember we're probably going to buy a house down there and make it a rental.
Okay.
Because I want one there.
Yep.
Because I'm sure in the next 20, 30 years we'll have to move there or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe someone will get hurt or sick and we'll have to go down there. But I want to have something just in case. And down there, I was looking at the same house, and a year later, the same exact house is like, went back on the market for $72,000 more in a year.
Oh, wow.
So it sounds like here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I thought it was underpriced when they listed it last time, but their houses are almost the same here. Like when I first looked there, you could get a nice house for like $150,000, literally, like a 3-bed, 2-bath, really nice house. Now they're like $300,000
Yeah.
for the same thing.
So similar to what we're seeing here.
Yeah. So it's not just here. And Arizona obviously is probably even worse.
Yeah, yeah, and I was just talking, since I'm licensed down there, I've started talking to a couple of real estate agents down there, and I've been talking to one that's based out of Chandler,
Yep.
But does a lot of business in the Maricopa.
Maricopa County.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that place, how it's changed in the last 2 or 3 years, basically open desert over to the mountains, is now starting to become nice housing developments. But it's things like that where if you look past the Chandlers and the Scottsdales and the Mesas, and you kind of have the vision of, okay, where's going to be the next hot spot, you can find really good deals in that area. It's just a matter of, okay, do I want to be that far away from the Mesa Airport or the downtown Phoenix Airport?
Right. That's just a good point.
Yep.
Which here, I guess that'd probably be like Box Elder or Hermosa.
Right.
Well, I think those two areas are going to get even more popular.
Yeah, I could see Hermosa.
The Valley is almost past the popular point. Like everybody wants to be in the Valley now. North Rapid, like kind of close to where you are, but other side of of Haines or whatever that is.
There's a ton of building going on.
Yeah, that'll come.
There's both sides. There's both sides. There's a ton of building.
Not west. There's really nothing going on in the west, part of Rapid anyways.
Right, yeah.
But there is like Piedmont Valley, like Somerset, Blackhawk area. That area will continue to grow, I'm sure, too.
Right.
Yeah, it'll all start spreading out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can
have to.
I can remember years ago my dad saying that Rapid City is going to connect with Sturgis, which is going to connect with Spearfish.
I agree. I totally agree.
And we're seeing that now.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's going to happen. Because now it kind of morphs in, like, I feel like when I first moved here, Piedmont was pretty separate, and now it's starting to flow that way.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure that's almost basically Sturgis when you get to the northern part of Piedmont.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I like. I like that it's going to kind of grow, and I'm sure a lot of people don't like it, but I like that it's going to grow and continue to go that way, personally.
Yeah. Now we need restaurants and some shopping out there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll get it.
Yeah.
There was just a big piece of commercial property bought in downtown Piedmont?
Yeah, just
that what it
west
was?
of Piedmont Valley Elementary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are they doing with that? Do you know?
I've heard a couple of different
Yeah,
things.
same.
Nothing concrete.
Okay.
I've heard maybe a large RV resort
Okay.
potentially,
Okay.
but I haven't heard anything.
Hopefully it's something
concrete.
different. There's so many RV resorts, man.
I know. When I take my camper places, I like to get in the hills.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I didn't take advantage of until last year in the hills, man, was the lakes and
Yeah.
the mountains and stuff.
Yeah.
I was just so focused. I was
Yeah.
like, work.
Yeah, when COVID first got here, I coach my daughter's or help coach my daughter's softball team, and typically during the summers, every weekend we're playing softball. And that summer, pretty much all the local and pretty much all the tournaments got canceled.
Yeah, makes sense.
Or pushed way back into the season.
Yeah.
So my wife talked me into buying a camper.
Yeah.
And my wife's not always right.
Yeah, but she was that time.
She was right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been one of the best things as a family we've done because you get to see parts of the place that you live.
That you never would have gone before.
Yeah.
Do you guys go to Pactola at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of our favorite
It's
spots.
so awesome.
Yeah. The best part is they have Wi-Fi there too, so I can
Really?
still work while we're camping. Yeah, Sheridan, you can't really get any.
Oh, you mean you have cell service?
Yeah, sorry,
Okay,
cell
yeah.
service.
I was like, they have Wi-Fi at
no
the
Wi-Fi,
campgrounds?
no Wi-Fi, cell service.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
I can keep working.
Yeah, that is nice. Yeah, go out when you have no cell phone reception in our business is like panic attack.
It's
dude.
stressful. It's not a fun camping.
No, it's
trip.
not, because then you get back and you have like 20 messages. You're
Yeah.
like, crap. Yeah, well, let's wrap this thing up. We are almost an hour in.
It's crazy.
Well, we're 40 minutes in or so. If anybody wants to reach you, ask you questions or anything like that, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
So cell phone, I don't even know what my office number is.
Okay.
605.
People have office numbers still?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
605-431-8195. Email cgardner@cmgfi.com.
Sweet. I'll put it all in the description.
Perfect.
Any final thoughts?
No, I mean, just like you've said, I think every day you wait is a day that you shouldn't have waited
I agree.
to buy.
I agree. And if you want to know if we are wrong or not, because we're idiots, maybe we're wrong, right? There's people out there that are way smarter than us that are saying the same thing. One of them being Mr. Negative himself, Dave Ramsey. He said it's going to continue for 10 years.
10 years.
So if you don't take our word for it, talk to Dave Ramsey, and maybe he'll tell you different. So, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks, Gary, for being on.
Yeah, absolutely.
See you guys in the next one.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this episode of the podcast. Let me know what you thought. Let me know other topics you want us to bring up, other guests you want me to have on. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you next week.